Hey everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the vlog. So last week, dramatic episode with getting the car sorted on Otis. That's the online diagnostic tool that's for VW, which is the only way you can remove the crash data from an ID model or vehicle. So that's iD3, iD4. The newer range of VW cars now all require it to be done online. So we managed to get through that hurdle. The car, you saw the wheels move. So now that we've proven that that's working, it means that we can carry on with restoring the vehicle. So today's object is to get the car back on its four wheels, and then to get it into the garage so we can finish off the bits that I can take care. And of course, we've still got the rear that needs to be repaired. In fact, I've got a panel that has been on order for about 6 to 8 weeks now, and it's stuck in customs, and that's what I need to repair. Anyway, more of that later. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to get the seat belts restored, the rear ones, and we've just got those back from the airbag team who've restored these belts. So we'll get them fitted. We need to pull the battery out so we can put all the screws in the battery, because if you remember, we left the battery top with just a couple of screws in, so that if we couldn't get the battery resolved and working, if it's coming up in an error, we can open the case up and we didn't have to do all the bolts on. Well, now we've got to do the bolts up so we can mount the battery to the car properly, because it's not mounted. So we need to get that done, get the wheels on it, and then hopefully at the end of this episode drive it into the garage. Not to forget to put the seats in as well. So we've got a lot to do. Let's get on with it. Right, so these are the rear seat belts that have returned from the airbag team, who've done a sterling job. So we'll need to fit these up, and then we can clear the codes on these. Now, airbag team are not the cheapest company when it comes to repairing, but they are the most reliable, and I will always use them now rather than try and get new seat belts, because the seat belts that I purchased, they were already done. People don't understand that the seatbelts are triggered now whenever the car has a crash, so they're selling them on eBay and they're selling duds. So rather than go through that pain, that was my co-part bid. Yes, I am watching this TTRS that is coming up for auction, 8.9 at the moment. Anyway, oh, by the way, it's got no damage on it either, but that's another story. Yeah, so we're going to get this fitted to the vehicle, and then we'll get the seats in, and that should clear our codes. At least that's what the plan is. So let's get these fitted, then we'll work on the battery, then we'll get the seats in the car, and then we're good to go. All good to roll. And no sooner do we plan to go out, it starts to rain. That's why you have a garage. Right, we'll give the rain a few minutes. I can see some blue skies in the background, so hopefully this is just a passing shower that we can get on and do what we need to do. Right, so fitting these seatbelts are simple enough. It goes into here, mounts into one position. Both seatbelts are the same, although they do have different part numbers, but you see them laid out, everything is exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter which side they go on. They just need to go on correctly. And connection is very simple. It's just connect this here to that there, and that should be it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Can't remember what that is, but we'll figure it out. Let's get this first one fitted. Okay, next we got the door card to put in, but when I went to put the card in, I noticed that a lot of these pop pins that go into here were broken. So we've got a new packet, so we'll just put those in place, and then we'll just stick the door card in. It only needs about 6 or 7, about £5 for a 10 for £10. Sorry, 10 for a £5. So it makes sense to just replace them, and that way it keeps the door nice and firm. So that door took longer than it should have done, and in the meantime it started raining again. So while I'm waiting for the rain, let's look at the seats that got going. But mate, this floor came up really nice and clean after its ordeal. So these are the seats that we're going to be putting in. Now I'm hoping that this seat's going to work, because this is an electric seat. This car by standard came with the standard seats. So underneath we've got an extra connection, and that extra connection incorporates a red wire and a black wire to power these electric motors. So I'm hoping that we just have to do a plug and play and it will work. Best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we have to wire in the electric, but I don't mind doing that. And the good thing is there's another one of these seats, so if this works just by plugging it in, that would be great, because then I'll just buy the other one and then I'll sell this good one here. If it doesn't, yeah, that's going to be a different story. That might be a big world of hurt, because the original plan was I was going to split this seat and put it onto that seat. So take the top half and put it on that half, and that's good, was going to be a mammoth task. So let's see. In the meantime, let's wait until this rain shower finished doing what it needs to do.
The next morning.
Okay, the rain didn't cease, so it's actually the next day now. Well, let me show you what I've done so far. So we've put the other seat in, so that's the plain seat. We've still got the other electric seat that we're going to plug in, and I need to just check the wiring on there to see what's actually pre-populated. So yeah, we'll check that. We've also put in the airbag, the curtain airbag on both sides. They're in place. You can just see the tail end hanging out just there. Still need to put the trim in for this side for the airbag, but it's already in place, and here's a trim down here, and we've given the car a little bit of a hoover, so we don't have to worry about it later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the battery out, and I've started doing that. We've disconnected from below. The battery is discharged, and as you can see, she's sticking halfway out, because we got to do all of these screws up. So we need to get the battery out, put those screws in, then we can fit the battery in place, and then get this wood car down for the first time and get it moving. But let's get the battery out first. Okay, battery time. So here, these individual screws, there are 64 of them to do up, plus we've got a whole lot of those as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 of those. Plus we've got these big nuts. A lot of screws to do up. You're going to see it in about 8 seconds. Let the tightening commence. Look at that, end of the tool broke. We can look at that. This is it wearer? It's supposed to be really good. Fortunately, I've got a spare one, so let me go and get that. And we've got what, 6 more to go. Right, so battery's all sealed up. The next bit now is to get the battery back under the car and then in place, and then lift it up. This bit is long and tedious, so I'm not going to show it, but just to explain what's going to happen, I'm going to push this underneath the car, line it up, jack it up with my jack underneath here, bolt it into place, and then connect all the connectors underneath. Alright, reverse of what we did when we took the car apart. It's just really fiddly, this bit, so we'll do it offline and I'll show you the end result. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, because this might take a while. Well, it will, at least for me.
2 hours later.
Right, the moment has come where we can undo the lift. The battery is now in place, bolted in, so it's completely secure. We still got to connect it up. But this is the magic moment where we drop the lift and the battery holds itself up. There's about 4 bolts we've got to do in the middle, but we do that once we remove this. So let's try that now. Here we go. Releasing. And she is away. Yes, the battery is holding itself up. That is amazing. After I don't know how many weeks it's been underneath here, 8 weeks holding that battery, and now it's suspending itself. Right, we just got a few more to secure in place, and then we are done. But this little table here is probably one of my best investments I've ever made. Even though I only bought it to do the engine on the TTS, it's really come in handy in helping with it. Without this, I would not have been able to do this job, so kudos to this table. Right, let me do the other nuts and then connect up the power. I'll do that offline, and then we're going to be ready to well, we're going to test. We'll test that everything's working first, and then we'll lower it. Right, so we've got the electric seat in, and I don't think this is going to be a difficult job actually, because here in the cable I've noticed that there's 3 cables that are missing. So there is these 2 top cables. See if I can get to show you. So the top 2 cables, which is this red, white and purple one, and this blue and yellow one at the top here, and then this big thick one, this red and black one. Those are the only cables that are missing. Here's the original wiring loom. You can see that the top 2 are missing, and also that. Everything else is exactly the same as that. So those 3 must be the power for the motors underneath here. So what we'll do is I'll work out how to wire that in. But in the meantime, I need to put some power into this car, because we need to obviously clear some codes down. I need to put the wheel back on. Just got the wheel back. Yeah, so many things to do before we lower this car on the ground to get into that critical moment. But before we do that, I want to make sure that the wheels work. So let me just clear some codes, and then we'll do another test to make sure that the wheels are rotating. Right, we've connected the car back up now, and as we expected, there's a whole lot of errors. So the steering one we can fix now, and it's a simple one to fix that. You just literally go full lock that way, and then full lock the other way, and you'll see the steering wheel disappear, and there it is, gone, and that will sort that out. Okay, cool. Right, steering wheel done. Now I'm just going to run VCDS to just clear a whole lot of codes that would have come up because of the power disconnect. But actually, let's see, we should just be able to drive. Let's see. Yep, there we go, in drive. Yes. Perfect. Right, let me clear some codes and then we'll drop this car down. Right, let's get this thing down on its wheels and see if it will move on its own momentum. Wow, that was sketchy. Right, it's down on its haunches now, so what we'll do, we'll see if she moves. I'm going to get in, we'll go back, and then we'll go forward. And yeah, this is a big moment. And there you have it, folks. She drives. She drives just like a tree. Okay, so getting the car moving like we have, we've not done any official test drive, we've just moved back and forth as you saw. That is a major event as far as I'm concerned, because it has taken the best part of a couple of months to be able to get this far. So I have never dealt with a car more complex than this car, so getting it moving is a real testament to all the research and all the people who have helped with that diagnostic to understand what we needed to do to get to where we were in this episode. Very happy. So what's coming up next? Well, we're now getting to that final stage of the prep with all those little annoying little things that are broken. That's what we're going to be fixing next week. So there's a whole lot of electronics that I'm getting down to the last nitty gritties. We're going to sort out the electric seat. I think we know how to fix that, but we need to test that. We'll do that next week. Then we need to fill this car with coolant, and this car takes 10 liters of coolant. But like most VWs, you have to vacuum pressure test to ensure that there's no leaks. So we'll do that next week, and that's a very important test. Alright, so if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below, click on the bell notification so you're notified whenever we release a new video. And don't forget, subscribing to this channel costs you nothing but helps us with the old YouTube algorithm, you know what I mean. So that's it. Join us next week when we get the car in the garage and get through some of those final hurdles, and then the big one, the rear panel, how we're going to deal with that. We'll talk about it next week. Have a good one.